He wanted 60 days and we've got 30 days, but Poroshenko risks making the situation even more advantageous for Russia. First of all, it only covers a bit of the country, but it still covers nearly half of the population, 44 million people. The fear is that it starts with 30 days, it does get longer, it does build into these elections, and that essentially martial law, which has not been used in the country, I think, since the First World War or after the First World War, for a very long period of time. And there have been more serious situations in Ukraine in recent years than this. So what is his game? And the other fear is that other countries, let's say Georgia, let's say Armenia, let's say Moldova, are looking at what's happening there, looking at the increasing use of laws to ramp home their political advantage and may well start doing the same. So I think it's a really dangerous path to go down, and I'm not entirely sure what martial law is actually going to achieve.
I was wondering that. What is it? How is it supposed to address what's happening with Russia?
Well, this is an emergency situation. I just repeat, it's the first time that there is a direct military confrontation between the two, an open confrontation. I think the measure is measured. It is limited in time, limited 10 oblasts, so that's limited in what the territory is concerned, and it doesn't interfere with the elections. And I think it's measured, but it shows determination of Ukraine. Don't forget, it's of the utmost importance. There are two important harbors, ports, that of Mariupol, I've been there, Berdyansk, which are very important for the economy, for the social situation of the people in the southeast of Ukraine.
To bring back
and Ukraine as a whole.
To bring back Mark's point, he was talking about military confrontation, military presence of the EU. Is that really the way to go? I mean, Russia's going to say, well, you're provoking us now, and that gives them ammunition.
I mean, the EU can, of course, continue its recourse as it did after the invasion and annexation of Crimea, and that is sanctions. I do not see any situation where the EU or NATO would be involved with kind of boots on the ground. And I think the interesting thing, of course, is to look at Ukraine as ground zero of Russia's kind of hybrid war. We've seen kind of the military incursions into the eastern half of Ukraine, but also simultaneously when it comes to cyber attacks or disinformation campaigns, Ukraine has long been the testing ground for some of Russia's foreign influence operations that now reach as far as Brexit or, the US presidential race.
Yeah, just to bring
no doubt that if Donald Trump sees an opportunity to sell missiles to Kiev, he will. He will. That may well be the US response to this situation.
Absolutely. And just to bring in, a bit of what Russia has been saying, do they have a point? Do they have any point in this? But, I mean, we understand what there
are international agreements, UN agreements on the use of the seas and international law on the seas. There are bilateral agreements between Russia and Ukraine about the use of the Azov Sea. It is a common sea. It's not an inner lake for Russia. Russia tries to seize this and to use it as an inner lake of, how do you say that in English? But of course there are agreements, and there are economic, of course, consequences if they don't live up to the rules.
So I'll give you the last word.
I think it depends on how you perceive of the world. So if you think the world is, needs to have an international rules-based community, then Russia's flagrance of those rules is clearly something to be alarmed about.
All right. Well,